Hi, and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, October 9th, 2020. This is a podcast all about my crafty life, and today I have crocheting and knitting to share with you all. You can find me online on Instagram at Noble Character Crafts, and you can get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram, which is called the Make 9 2020 Mal, and that is for you to join in on the Make 9 challenge. All whips are allowed to be entered in this make-along, and you are not required to finish anything from your Make 9 board. So please don't hesitate to continue to join in. Also, any craft is also encouraged to be entered into this make-along. So I would love to see any new entries into this make-along, or of course, I love seeing continual entries into the make-along as you all are continuing to work on your projects for 2020. I'm so excited that I have a finished object to share with you all today. I was able to finish this beautiful blanket. I'm so excited about it. This is a crocheted blanket that I made for a family that we know, and the husband of the family helped us by coming over to our home to get a bat out of our home, and I am very, very grateful to him for his help for that. And so the way that I show appreciation to people is by making them things. So I had really wanted to make this pattern, which is called the Navajo Diamond Afghan. It is a really old vintage pattern. I'm not sure the origin of the pattern, but I was able to find it online on a website, and the pattern was written by Hook and Loops. I will link to that in the description box below. But my grandmother had made a blanket using this pattern, and I have it. It's done with a bunch of scrap yarns, and so I had wanted to replicate that blanket. And so I was super excited that it just worked out that I had wanted to make this particular pattern, and then I really wanted to make a gift for this family as well. So it worked out that I was able to make this for them. So I'll have to stand up to show it to you. So here it is. Hopefully you can get it. You can see all of it. It's pretty good size for a throw blanket. Hopefully you got a good idea of what it looks like in its entirety. It is constructed by working lengthwise. So you start with a chain, a foundation chain, for the length of the blanket. So that was unique. I've never made a blanket like that before that I can recall anyway. The other unique thing about this construction is that you are always crocheting on the right side of the work, so you never turn your work. You just cut the yarn at the end of each row, and then you go back to the beginning to work across the right side row. So I started on this end with this dark charcoal color. And I mentioned last time that I was really having a hard time with that foundation chain being too loose. And one of the viewers, Michelle, who I know personally, suggested that I went back and did a single crochet row along that foundation edge and to tighten that up. And that really worked very, very well. So thank you so much, Michelle, for that suggestion. The entirety of this blanket is made using single crochet stitches, and you work into the back loop. And so that's exactly what I did as when I went through and when I went back and added on a single crochet row to the foundation row. I think it just really helped it to lay flat much better than it was before. So I'm so happy that you suggested that to me, Michelle. Thanks again. And that just worked beautifully. So I'm super happy with that. I used a lot of scrap yarn, yarn that I had had in my stash for a long time. I did buy a few new yarns to go into this though, because I wanted the color scheme to be cohesive and I didn't have quite enough in my stash. But this is all well, most of it is worsted weight yarn. There are 2 different yarns that I put in here that are bulky weight, but I didn't find that that made a difference with the gauge or anything like that. I used an eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter hook, and I just really enjoyed making this. It was so much fun to work on. So, oh, I think I was wrong. This is the beginning row. It doesn't really matter, but this was the foundation row. I think I was showing you the wrong side, but anyway, this was the foundation row, but I think it is just laying a lot better now. So the way that you work it so that you get this beautiful diamond texture is that you make a double crochet stitch 2 rows down from where you're working into the front loop that is left unworked, since you're only working into the back loop for the other stitches. So you do a double crochet stitch into the front loop that is left unworked, and then you just do it in this diamond pattern, and it's so enjoyable. And then every row, like I said, you cut your yarn, and so you're left with these tassels or fringe on each end at the top and the bottom. I think that that is so much fun. I just went through and tied off, well, it ended up that the first one I did 6 strings together, and then all the rest of them I had 5 strings that I was tying together to make it even across, and then I just trimmed them so they were all 3 inches in length. So that worked out really well. I just did a steam blocking for this. I really enjoy steam blocking acrylic yarn. That's what this all is. It's all 100% acrylic yarn, and that just seems to work really, really well. I did have an issue as I was making it with the corners curling under like this, but once I steam blocked it, it lays really nicely. Well, it's hard to stand up because it's you know, not so stiff, but anyway, they don't curl under anymore, so I'm so happy about that. I will put in the description box all of the yarn that I put into this. It is several different yarns, but I will list all of them down below if you're curious. Last time I recorded, I did work on this pretty monogamously. So last time I recorded, try to show you where I was. There's a little dangly heart progress keeper showing where I was. So this is, I didn't really have that much done yet when I showed this off last time. So I only had maybe a little over a foot in the width done. So from that progress keeper, I worked the rest of the width here since last time. I didn't measure it yet, but you know, it's a pretty good throw size, so I'm super happy with that. I think that that's all I have to say for this. It was really a fun pattern. I know that my grandmother made this pattern all the time, and I've heard from other people that they've either made this pattern a lot of times, or they, you know, have a few different Afghans from their, you know, that have been passed down to them because maybe their mother or their grandmother loved making this pattern as well. So I know it at least used to be a super popular pattern, and I can see why. It was super fun to work up, and it would be, you know, like I said, the one that I have from my grandmother was made out of scraps, and it would be perfect for that because it does not take too much to go across a row. I think, I wrote it down actually. Let's see, I think it used about around 20 to 25 grams depending on the yarn. You know, every yarn is a little bit different, but it took about that much to get across one row. So yeah, I'm so happy with how it turned out. I love the colors, and I'm really hopeful that the family that this is going to will really enjoy this blanket as well and feel appreciated for their services to me. So anyway, I hope they enjoy it. Okay, on to works in progress. My first work in progress is in this bag that I made myself. It's quite autumnal themed. I love it. And in here are the silver hoof mittens that I am working on, and I was able to finish the first one. So this is a beautiful design by Kulabra Designs, and I am knitting this as a gift for my Make 9 gift list. So I made 2 Make 9 boards, one for my personal projects, which I've pretty much given up on because I have a few other Christmas gifts that I really want to work on before the end of the year, and I'm putting my personal projects on hold for right now. So everything I'm working on is a gift for someone, which I don't mind at all, because that's really probably my favorite thing to do, is to make gifts for people. So anyway, I am so happy that I was able to finish this first mitten, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. That is such a cute design, isn't it? So here is a progress keeper marking where I was last time I recorded. Here is the front and the thumb. I just love colorwork mittens. I think they're so great. I have not blocked this yet, so the stitches will look much better once it's wet blocked. They'll just even out so much better, but I'm really happy with how this turned out, and the fit of this mitten is so great. Oh, it's beautiful. I love how far down on the arm it comes, so it would really go underneath the coat, your coat sleeve really well. The fit is just beautiful. A lot of times with colorwork mittens, I find that they're quite snug, but this one has some nice wiggle room in it. It's not too snug. Oh, the fit is just gorgeous, I think. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. Oh, I love it. Isn't it so cute? I just love that reindeer. It's so sweet. I'm so happy with it. The yarns I'm using are Knit Picks palette in cream and wheat heather. This is a fingering weight 100% Peruvian Highland wool. And I have started the second one. So it starts with this ribbing. It's just about an inch of 1x1 ribbing. And I've just started into the color work, but only a few rows in. The ribbing is worked on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and now I am on US 3 3.25 millimeter needles for the color work section. All of the needles that I use are Chaogu red lace. I just love these. I love working on color work projects anyway, but when they turn out so cute like this, I'm so pleased with how this turned out, so that I'm even more motivated to continue to work on the second mitten. So I'm really so pleased with how this has turned out. My next work in progress was not in the plan. I wasn't planning to make this, but I finished the Navajo diamond Afghan, and I still have had all of this yarn from that project left over, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really want to use that up. And I have been really wanting to make a chevron patterned blanket. I haven't made one in a long time. I have made several chevron patterned blankets in the past, and I just really enjoy working on that type of pattern. So I decided to start another blanket. I'm not sure who this will be going to, but I am hoping that, you know, I'll find the perfect home for it. And my other issue is that I didn't have any mindless projects to work on, especially when I'm doing schoolwork with our kids. I homeschool our 5 children. And when I'm teaching the kids, I like to, you know, when I'm sitting at the school table with the kids, I like to have a really simple project that I can work on while they are working independently. I've said before, I don't usually get a ton done while I'm helping them with their schoolwork, because I get obviously interrupted a lot. I need to help them out a lot, which of course is perfectly fine. That's why I'm there. But I do like to have a project with me just in case I can get a few stitches in while I am helping them. So anyway, this was the perfect project. So I'm so excited about how this is turning out so far. I mean, I've just started it, so it's not too far into it, but I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying working on it. I'm using an H hook 5mm, and lately I've been using all clover hooks. I'm really enjoying them so much. And the pattern that I'm following is by Attic 24. It's called the Neat Ripple pattern. And it really is a good name because it is just such a nice looking ripple pattern. I love it so much. It's so pretty. I just love it. So like I said, I haven't gotten very far in, but I'm just going to be using up these scraps that I have, just using up the whole skein of what's left over and then going on to the next one. I don't want to end mid-row, however, so I want to at least be able to complete a full row with whatever yarn I'm using. So I have measured it, and so far, again, I'll have to be kind of careful with whatever yarn I'm using to measure it, but right now, the dark charcoal that I used here, it only took 11 grams to do one row. So yeah, I'm super excited about this project. I just think it's going to look so pretty. The pattern says to make a chain in a multiple of so many stitches so that you get the right number, so that you have the right amount of stitches on your foundation chain in order to make the zigzag, the chevrons. But a trick that I have learned and use quite often when I'm starting a foundation chain, and I'm not, especially with blankets, when I'm not really sure how big I want to make it, because with a chain, it's really kind of difficult to gauge how wide your blanket's going to turn out, especially with a chevron shape like this, because of course it's a zigzag, and so you'd have to like try to figure out, it would be hard to determine how wide your blanket is going to be just from the foundation chain. So I always just do a super long chain so I know it's plenty long enough or wide enough, and then I just stop when I get to a point where it's wide enough. And I just leave this extra chain, and then I can just go in and snip it off pretty short and unravel those last few chains and then weave that end in, and that's not a problem at all. So that's just a tip in case, because even in the blog post for this pattern, she says be really careful to count your stitches so you know, end up with the correct number of stitches, but I don't see the point. I think it's easier just to make a extra long chain and then not use the extra stitches that you don't need. So anyway, I didn't measure this either, but it's not very, very wide. It's going to be, again, just kind of like a throw size. I held it up to the Navajo Diamond Afghan, and it's about the same width as that one. So yeah, I really am excited about this project. It's so much fun to work on. This would be another great pattern to use with fingering weight scraps or anything like that. All right, and my last work in project is another gift. My mom does not watch this podcast very often, I don't think, but Mom, if you do happen to be watching, can you turn it off now, because I'm making something for you. Thanks. So my next work in progress is in this adorable chicken bag that I received as a gift from the Bead Sisters podcast. I received this quite a while ago, but I really enjoy it. And on here is a cute little notions pouch that I received as a gift from Carista. And I put it on this bag because the fabrics just go so well together, and yeah, I just thought that's really cute to have on there. I don't have anything in it right now, but I thought I might need to put some, you know, notions in there as I work on this project some more, but I'm just at the beginning stages of it, so I haven't gotten very far into it. So I am making a pair of socks for my mom. I'm not sure if I'm going to be giving them to her for her birthday or for Christmas. Her birthday is in mid-December, so one or the other. Okay, so I am making the Campfire socks, which is a pattern by Kay of Crazy Sock Lady Designs. And I have, yeah, like I said, just started these, so I was able to finish the cuffs and have just done one repeat of the pattern. As you can see, I am mismatching the cuffs, and I'm going to also mismatch the heels and toes, so each sock is flip-flopped. So this one that has the red cuff is going to have a gold heel and a red toe, and then the one that starts with the gold cuff is going to have a red heel and a gold toe. So I am making these for my mom in these colors because she is an Iowa State Cyclones fan, and the red and gold are the Iowa State colors. So I thought it would be fun for her to have a pair of Iowa State themed socks. And then I went with this pattern because, well, because it's beautiful, of course, and also because my mom really loves campfires, and so I thought that was fitting. And then also the main yarn that I'm using also has kind of like fire colors in it, so I thought it was super fitting. And of course, then it also has the red and gold colors in it as well. So that's why I chose it. So the yarns I'm using, the two contrast colors are yarns that I dyed myself. They're both on a fingering weight yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I used to dye and sell my yarn. I don't do that anymore, but when I did, this was my Scarlet colorway and fine gold colorways. The main yarn that I'm using is also from Carista. She has a yarn company called Sweet Mountain Yarn, and I received this as a gift from her as well in the same package along with this little notions pouch. This is on her Summer Snow Cone colorway, and it's also a 75-25 sock weight. But it's just this beautiful, you know, it's got a bare base and then it's speckled with red and gold. And I'm not sure, or yellow, I'm not sure if it's also speckled with orange or if the red and the yellow just mix to make the orange colors, but it's really beautiful. I love it so much. So these are coming along. They are, I'm doing the medium size, so I cast on 64 stitches, and the cuff is done with a twisted ribbing that's mainly a 1x1, but it does have a bit of a pattern. You can kind of see that it has a pearl section right here in the middle of both the front and the back. Anyway, that's really beautiful. I did that for 20 rows. I'm using US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. And like I said, I've just done one repeat of the pattern. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a really pretty pattern that also has twisted stitches in it and a little bit of cabling, and Kay seems to always have some fun little stitches in her patterns a lot of times that I really enjoy making. So this pattern is a lot like that. I think it's a 12-row repeat. Yes, a 12-row repeat. So I just love patterned socks. I highly recommend any of Kay's patterns. I really enjoy making them, so I'm super excited to work on these a little bit more, and hopefully my mom will really enjoy them. So those are all of the works in progress that I have to share with you today. I do have a few new things that just came in the mail, and then I also am going to be answering the last bunch of questions that I received for my question and answer special episode for my 100th episode, but I wasn't able to get to all of them, and I'm gonna try to get through the rest of those questions at the end of this episode. But today in the mail, I just received a package of Knit Picks yarn that I'm so excited to have received. I did mention this in the last episode that I was wanting to order some yarn for a sweater for my husband, and I wasn't able to order it because it was out of stock, but it came in stock and I ordered it, and I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited to make this pattern for my husband. So I got this beautiful blue color. It is called Dusk, and I think it's going to be so gorgeous. My husband has blue eyes, and so it's going to really look nice on him, I think. This is Knit Picks Swish, which is worsted weight. It is 100% fine superwash merino wool, and oh, I am so excited about that. I think that color is just so much fun. And the pattern that, and my husband picked out that color too. This isn't a surprise. He asked me to make him a sweater, and he helped pick out the pattern, and he helped pick out the yarn as well. And the sweater is called Artin, and it is by Berroco. I wonder if there's an actual designer's name on this. I don't see one. I think it's just by Berroco Designs. But I'm really excited about this. Now, it is a bottom-up seamed sweater, so that's not my favorite way to make a garment, but hopefully I'm going to start the gauge swatch later on today, I hope, and I'm going to try to just do the best I can. I'm going to be making the 4th size for my husband. So, yeah, I had to order a ton of yarn. According to the pattern, it says that I need 22 of these skeins. They're only 50-gram skeins, but that seems like a lot. I mean, even if they were full skeins, to have 11 skeins of yarn, but I mean, it is worsted weight, so maybe, but I have a lot of yarn. I have 2 huge plastic bags that are full of this yarn, plus these 2 extra ones. So anyway, I ordered 22 skeins total. But I'm so excited about that. And then also Knit Picks is having a book sale right now where, I think it's still going on, where there's 40% off their books. So since I was making that order, I just checked out their other books that they had on sale, and I decided to pick up this book, which is called Easy to Crochet Pattern Stitches. It's by Leisure Arts, and it has 63 mix and match blocks for making your perfect Afghan. And I just thought that that would be really fun to have, not only for making blocks, but you could also use a lot of these stitches for, you know, just make a whole blanket out of one stitch would also be great. So there's a ton of beautiful designs on this, and then you could also just make all 63 to make this Afghan. There's kind of a layout at the beginning that shows you how it would be laid out. But then you could make an Afghan with all 63 blocks being different, which would be super fun. But I mainly got it just to have a few extra crochet stitches on hand if I ever wanted to try out. It was only like $4, so I thought it was well worth the money for that. So I'll just go into my questions. So the first one says, do you do much photography? I only do photography for Instagram. So any of my Instagram photos that you see, pretty much that's the only reason that I take any pictures, except for, of course, our family. But I mean, so no, not really. I just do pictures of my projects. What is your favorite time of day to take the photos you share on your podcast? So I always like to include a bit of nature, you know, some videos of the nature around our home at the beginning of each episode, and I usually do that first thing in the morning or late afternoon. So whenever it's not too bright but the light is soft yet, that's my favorite time to take those little videos. Are you the shutterbug, or is someone else in your family the shutterbug? So I do take those videos for the episodes, and then I take most of the pictures on my Instagram profile. But if I ever have a finished object like a garment that I need to wear and I need someone to take my photo, my eldest son used to be the one that I would ask to take my photograph, but lately it's been my daughter, who is 9.5, and she really, really enjoys taking those pictures. So I just use my iPad and I get it all set up for her, and I hand it to her and I say, okay, snap some photos, and she takes like over 100 pictures, and then I just choose a few that look okay. But yeah, she really enjoys doing that, and it's been so helpful to be able to have her help me out with that, so I'm very grateful. Do you like to cook? Yes, kind of. I really like to cook. I like to cook when I don't have to cook, but I do, you know, having to cook a meal every single day does get a little tiresome. I like it if I have meals, you know, if I have an idea of what I want to make each week. So that's great when I can get myself organized and know what meals I want to make throughout the week, and of course have all the ingredients. Then it's a lot more enjoyable. But there's lots of days when I don't know what I'm going to make, and I don't know what to make, and I don't really want anything, and I don't want to cook. And of course I don't cook every night. There are nights when we have leftovers, or, you know, maybe I just cook some frozen pizzas or something for supper. What do you enjoy cooking? So lately now that the weather has gotten cool, I've really enjoyed making soups. Those are probably my favorite thing because it's easy. You can just throw stuff into the pot and you can do it, you know, I like to do it like in the early afternoon, and then it's ready to go and I don't have to worry about it. Same thing with like crock pot meals. Those are awesome. My favorite soups that I make are chili. I also make a white chicken chili, so that has a creamy sauce, and I love making soups. I would say that soups are probably my favorite thing to cook. Do you enjoy baking? Yes, I love baking. That's definitely my favorite. So cooking is okay. You know, I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite, but I love baking. I will bake anytime. Anytime my kids say, Mom, will you make us some cookies? Or I love making homemade bread. I love making muffins. Yesterday morning, my daughter said, Mom, can you make coffee cake? Yes, I'll make coffee cake. I love baking. It's so much fun for me. Do you have any go-to dessert recipes? So my favorite cookie recipe is by, I think, Better Homes and Gardens, maybe. I'll try to find it and link it down below, but it's called Triple Flavor Big Batch Cookies. So kind of a funny name, but it's basically peanut butter, oatmeal, cocoa powder, chocolate chips in a cookie, and they are really, really good. They're always a big hit if I ever make them and take them anywhere to anything. And then also my mom always, whenever I go see my mom, I always make Texas sheet cake, which is a sheet cake, so a very thin cake that is chocolate, and then I make a chocolate frosting that goes on top of it. So that's a standard dessert that I have made many times. My mom always has me make it because she has trouble making this particular recipe. I don't know why, but she says whenever she tries to make it, it doesn't turn out. So she always has me make it. Is your hair naturally curly? Yes, it does have this natural wave to it. What product do you use when you wear your hair curly? So the product that I use for my hair is by Cantu. So this is a leave-in conditioning cream, and I really have been happy with this product. So I just shampoo my hair, and then while it's still wet, I put this in it and kind of scrunch it into my hair. And that usually, you know, keeps my hair looking nice for a few days. But if I do need to kind of freshen it up in between shampooing my hair, because I shampoo my hair twice a week, and so if, you know, it's been a few days since I shampooed my hair, I also use this Cantu brand also, but this is moisturizing curl activator cream, so I put a little bit of that in it once in a while to kind of make it look nicer if it's looking messy. So anyway, I really love this product. I had a few questions about my lipstick color, which is so funny because I just don't feel like I am an expert, or like I don't use high quality makeup. I don't use fancy makeup, which you will see. But anyway, a couple of people asked me about my lipstick and asked if I could share what brand and color it is. So I actually just had to order a new one of these because my other one just ran out. But the product that I use is Wet n Wild. And if you're not familiar with this brand, it's just like the cheapest brand that you can possibly buy. So anyway, that's why I think it's funny, because I'm just not into fancy name brands or anything like that. The color that I use is called Dark Pink Frost, and it's number 530D. So anyway, here is the color. It's just like a rosy pink color. And I don't just use this, I also, well, both of the products that I use on my lips are dual purpose for my makeup. So I also use an eyeliner on my lips. So I use it as a lip liner, and then I kind of blend it in. So it is a brown color. I think that this is, the writing on this is all worn off, but I'm pretty sure this is Wet n Wild brand too, and it's probably dark brown or something like that. But it's just a simple eye pencil, and I just use that as a lip liner and then kind of blend it in, so it kind of darkens up the shade of the lipstick. So anyway, of course I use this on my eyes as well as my lips, and then I also use the lipstick on my lips and my cheeks as blush. So I just dab it on my cheeks and rub it in. So those are my makeup tricks. Have you ever cut your hair short? I have had my hair short before. The last time I had it very short, I had it cut to about right here. I had donated my hair to Wigs for Kids or something like that. So I had donated 12 inches. And that was probably 6 years ago. That was the last time I cut it short, but I really don't like it when it's short. I much prefer it to be long. So those are all of the questions that I had submitted to me for the question and answer episode. If you do have any other questions for me, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be glad to answer any questions. You can leave them in the comments down below, or you can send me an email if you would like to. I'd be glad to answer any of your questions. And thank you so much to everybody that did submit a question for that 100th episode. I think that's all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I appreciate that so much, and I hope you all have a great couple of weeks ahead. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.